Okay. Here we are at the top of the mountain, 5, 6. We've got our half angle identities today. They are slightly ugly. The cosine for half of a given angle, a divided by 2, is plus or minus the square root of 1 plus the cosine of the angle divided by 2. Notice the square root, the whole fraction is under the square root. So the plus or minus is going to be determined by the quadrant of a over 2. The sine identity, plus or minus 1 minus the cosine of the angle divided by 2. Tangent and tangent is, think about it as sine divided by cosine. If you took those two fractions and you divided them with the sine one divided by the cosine one, what's going to happen there? Can you see it? Twos are going to cancel. So it'll be 1 minus cosine over 1 plus cosine. One minus cosine over 1 plus cosine. And yeah, it's all about cosine today. And this one actually has two other versions if you like. It can be the sine of what's nice about these ones is they don't have the square root. Over 1 plus cosine. Or the third one, one minus cosine over sine. Again, the thing that makes these ones challenging are those fractions, because you're going to have fractions within fractions. But we kind of been doing that all through the year, so. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 examples for you to finish chapter 5 up. Are you ready?
Now we're done with 3.
Michaela, did you catch up? You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we'll start with the easy ones. We'll finish with the big triangle one. Number 1. I just said it. Sine of 15 degrees. Looking for an exact value, but I want to use the half angle identity, not a subtraction. So, I want to write this. What is 15 half of? 30. So I'm going to rewrite this as the sine of 30 divided by 2. Degrees. 30 degrees divided by 2. We agree that that equals 15.
Yes.
So do you see this as the sine of theta divided by 2? So what's my theta value here? 30 degrees. So now we're going to use the identity. The identity I gave you, sine of 30 divided by 2, is going to be plus or minus, we'll figure that out, the square root of 1 minus the cosine of 30, because that's in my A spot, over 2. So I'm just going to put a 30 here and put a 30 here. So it equals plus or minus square root 1 minus the cosine of 30 degrees over 2. All right. Okay, plus or minus. We are trying to find the sine of 15 degrees. You know where 15 degrees is at. Is that sine ratio going to be positive or negative? Positive. Okay, so we can drop the negative right now. Are we okay with that?
So we can just like cross it off?
Positive. So, we're going to keep the positive square root. So it's 1 minus, what is the cosine of 30 degrees? Square root of 3 over 2. Then that's all going to be over 2. Now it's just a matter of simplifying this ugliness in here.
What's multiplying?
What do you want to change the 1 into?
A half. Oh, 1.
2 over 2 would be a good choice, Kenley. Because that equals 1, and it has a common denominator with this here. Yes. They looked it up on their circle sheet, cosine of 30. Okay, so now I'm going to make a single fraction here in the top. I'm actually going to do two things in one step, so stay with me. So I'm going to have 2 minus the square root of 3 all over 2.
One question.
Yep.
Couldn't you cancel the bottom 2 with the,
This is going to be over 1.
like, don't you have to, like, flip it?
Yep. And if I flip it, it's not going to cancel because it's got to be in the bottom of both of them, and it's not.
What are you doing right now?
It's not.
Oh.
All I did was the top.
You made it into one.
I made this top a single fraction.
Okay.
Now I'm going to be dividing by 2 over 1. Can I flip this over right now?
Yeah, multiply by 1/2.
Multiply by 1/2.
It became 1 with the square root.
So now I've got just one fraction instead of a fraction within a fraction. So what we have, multiplying numerators together, I have the square root of 2 minus the square root of 3 over 4. And now I square root the top and square root the bottom separately.
Where'd the 1/2 come from?
Dividing by 2.
Why do you keep the 2 then?
I flipped it over and made it a half. I multiplied by this reciprocal. I should probably do the bottom in another color, then you'll be able to keep track. I'll do that.
Can I put forward the 2, allow each other?
No.
No?
I don't know.
No, they cannot because of the minus sign. They're holding hands here. I can't cancel off 1.
Okay.
Okay, so the top is going to stay 2 minus square root of 3. But the bottom is going to turn into
2. Well, square root of 4.
It's
square root of
actually
4,
2.
which is,
2.
want to bet 3 people asked me where that came from?
Well, you just square rooted.
That is our exact answer using the half angle identity.
Square root under a square root.
You can, just can't have them in the bottom.
Wouldn't it be square root squared? Oh,
Nope,
wait.
this is it. That's as far as we get.
Hideous.
Hideous.
What did the child
When
hide in the
when you're up at 1/2, where you first put the 1/2 in,
Yep.
why do you, I thought you took the 2 out of the denominator and multiplied by 1/2.
Took the 2.
That's what she did.
Because I had a 2. See where I started with a 2?
Yep.
I just made it 2 over 1. So I can see, then I flip this over, it becomes 1/2 that I multiply by.
Okay, but why is there 4 on the bottom?
2 times 2.
I thought you took that 2 and flipped it, so that 2 in the
This
denominator-
2 is from this common denominator here. This 2 is this 2. This 2 is this 2.
That makes sense.
Okay.
2.
Red 2 and blue 2. Let's practice another one of those. I don't want to do that one.
You have gummies.
I was going to give you one, but they're fruit snacks.
I can squeeze example 2 in this big space I left here. Example 2.
And to everybody who watches the video.
Not as big as that one.
But like,
Just write it down.
A one-liner.
I didn't know if I should take it. Do it. I don't think do it. I'm not. Kayla, you can always just copy mine. We can hold hands on one.
Okay, we want to simplify this as much as we can.
you just wait it?
Yep.
It'll be okay.
Okay. Your goal here is to recognize which identity has gotten used here. Which one is this? That says 1 minus the cosine of the angle over 2. The sign of what?
Theta divided by 2.
No, the sign, no, it's 76.
Okay, take a look. I see it as this. 1 minus the cosine of A over 2. Where A is what? So I'm just going to put a 76 over here. So it's the sine of 76 over 2. So this is equal to the sine
What's with all those other square roots?
of 76 over 2.
Can you draw a line?
What is 76 divided by 2?
38.
Is 38 on your circle sheet? That's as far as we can go.
Oh, look there.
Just said simplify it as much as you can. If that was something that was on your circle sheet, you'd look it up and write the number down. Said it wasn't long.
I like that. Is the next one long?
Very.
How many lines?
Is this a triangle?
Yep.
How many lines is that?
If it is, might have to squish.
Should I take the risk?
This is
Wait, show us how long it was.
this and this over to here.
Wow.
That's a different one.
So that,
I think it's gonna be okay.
It all depends on how big you write.
So what happened on that last one? I'm so confused.
You had to recognize this as an identity. So you had to look back to say, well, which one has the square root of 1 minus the cosine of an angle divided by 2? We picked it out as this one here. 1 minus the cosine of an angle divided by 2. This ugliness is actually just equal to the cosine of whatever this A is divided by 2. I mean the sine.
Oh,
Okay, here we go. 3. We want to find the cosine of theta divided by 2 if I know that the sine of theta equals negative 1/5 and theta is between 180 and 270. So instead of asking for all 6 of them this time, I only asked for 1. So it'll make our life a little bit easier.
Okay, first we gotta find out the quadrant.
Okay, let's find the quadrant. What quadrant is theta in?
well, obviously 3.
Guessing 3. Do I know anything about theta?
No.
It is,
But then it's over 2.
That I know that its sine ratio of theta is negative 1/5. So can I sketch a triangle for angle theta? Yes, I can. Let's do that. So this is angle theta. Not half theta, not 2 theta, just plain old theta. I like to label it so I know what I've got going on. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Adjacent side will be, how good are you at doing that in your head?
Where's 24?
Whoa, that's easy.
He is correct. It's going to be 25. Subtract 1, that's going to give us a 24.
Well, negative square root.
Can we do anything to simplify square root of 24?
no.
Yes, Kenley?
2 squared is 6.
Why do you have to say my name when you're
Oh,
gonna record?
yes,
That's highly
Miss?
embarrassing. Yes, and I'm.
yes, miss.
I will shut the door.
Well, I think he's gone now. I don't think
That's
he's-
okay.
I don't think he's going to go up and down the hallway. Okay. So we've got a triangle done. Our goal was to find the cosine of half of that angle. So the cosine of theta divided by 2. Well, I need an identity for this.
Can you go back real quick?
No.
Oh, you went 4 times. Oh, okay, I got it. Never mind.
Okay.
Trying to figure this out.
All right. If I look back, the cosine of an angle divided by 2 is plus or minus. We'll figure that out in a minute. The square root of 1 plus the cosine of just theta, then that whole thing divided by 2. So I need to know one thing to figure this out. I need to know the cosine of full theta. Do I know what the cosine of theta is?
Negative.
It's what? Yep. Here's angle theta. Cosine's the adjacent over the hypotenuse. I can get it right from this triangle. And then it's a whole lot of algebra with the fractions after that. Let's see if we can figure out the plus or minus. Okay, I'm trying to find the cosine of whatever angle this is cut in half.
Yeah.
Well, let's think about what it could be. This right here would be 180. It's between 180 and 270. Any number between there. Let me cut this in half and see where I could end up. What's half of 180? 90. What's half of 270? 135. So theta divided by 2 is between 90 and 135. Where is 90 to 135 at?
Quadrant 2.
It's in quadrant. So theta cut in half is in quadrant 2. Are you with me so far?
Yeah.
What's cosine in quadrant 2? Negative. So I know I'm going to keep the negative. So I've got to figure out where this angle is at, and I do it just by cutting the boundaries in half. Tells me what it's, I don't know what it is, but I know what it's in between. So we're going to keep the negative. This way? Okay, so here we go. Negative I want. Square root 1 plus, tell me what the cosine of theta is. Negative 2 square root of 6 over 5. Then that's all divided by 2. Okay. So, I'd like to make the 1 a fraction so that I can add fractions in the next line. What do you want to turn 1 into? 5 over 5. So I'll have negative square root. So just the top. What's my fraction going to be in the top here? 5. 2 square root of 6
Can't we
over
just do
5.
3 square root of 6?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yep. All I did was the top. I had 5 over 5 plus a negative 2 square root of 6 over 5. So I have common denominator, so I just have to combine the numerators. Make sure you get that. You understand how I got from here to here? Okay. Now I've got to divide by 2. I'll make that over 1. How do I divide by 2 over 1? Multiply by 1/2. So I'm doing 2 steps in 1 there. Are you okay with that? Okay. So then we get negative. Can I do the square root of the top and bottom separately right here? Make 2 square roots out of this? Okay.
Can't you put the 2 in and then cancel?
No, it's holding hands.
It's holding hands. Cannot cancel it.
Because it's holding hands.
What about the 5? Is the 5 holding hands?
Yeah.
These are holding hands. Bottom is 10 though.
If they're holding hands, they can't cancel.
What is the just holding hands?
It means that they either have a positive connection or a negative connection. Okay, I like to think of it. That's funny, actually. Yeah.
Hit it with the 1.
Hit it with a 1.
I think I'm pretty funny.
It'll be our last step is to hit it with a 1.
It's just like
Are you ready for this?
comes to my mind.
Yeah.
It's like square root of 10.
So we are going to multiply by square root of 10 over square root of 10.
Making the square root pretty large.
I know, because I wanted them to match the ones that are there. Okay, bottom's not a problem. It's my bottom. 10. Okay. Now, pay attention to the top here. There is a binomial here. This 10 has to get distributed.
Five square root of 10 minus 2 square root of 60.
Wrong.
Oh.
Right idea, but wrong. Take a look. The 5 is under just 1 square root, correct? The 10 is under 1 square root, so they're kind of in the same position. So it is okay to multiply the 5 and the 10 together
Oh.
and get a 50.
That's gonna really mess with me.
Over here, I've got a 2 and another square root of 6. What is the 10 going to get multiplied by, the 2 or the square root of 6?
Both.
The 2.
Just the 2. Because the 6 is under 2 square roots. The 10 is only under 1. The 2 is under 1 square root.
Oh, he's like double sheltered.
Yes, he is. So the 10 will get multiplied by the 2 and not the 6.
Oh, so they'll only if they're single sheltered.
Negative 1.
Square root of 6.
I feel.
Wait, why'd you keep the square root of 6?
Because it's there, I can't throw it away. It's just multiplied. If that was like an x,
We're talking about double sheltered.
you would carry along the x. 2 would be 2x times 10 would be 20x, but I've got a square root of 6 instead.
And that's it? That's the answer?
Happy, happy, joy, joy.
Still negative?
Oh, yep, lost my negative. Austin? You can do this. Okay. At least we get to switch gears tomorrow.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's all I've got. I gotta find the assignment.
Oh, you said we had 4.
I changed my mind.
Oh! What? Why would you ask for another example?
Where's my white book at?
She said it with a smile.
making sure.
Let's see. We've got Wednesday in Trig. Page 230. Well, this looks excessive.
Now you know how I felt when she pinned me up against the wall. The same thing that I did.
Yep.
You just pulled Henley.
What? No. That's way too
They must be short ones. I did stop. Let me take a look, because it does look excessive compared to what we've been having. 230.
I hope they're all like exactly 2.
There must be a lot of those kind in here. 230.
Why would you want to keep them with your side? No, I'm
2.
They're underneath
Mm.
That's really fun. No, I'm hating them.
I don't even want number 2.
No, I'm hating under your ass. It's really not.
Oh, that's just picking out positive or negative. Those are good. 11. 17. 23. 31.
Yeah.
How many of these are there?
I'm looking. Nothing was too long today.
Like 8 or like. Oh, my
I'm not even gonna do 31.
So which ones are good?
The ones that are left. I'm gonna change, get rid of 31, but I'm gonna replace it with
No, don't replace it.
If it's out of order, I'm
27. It is not. 30. Why is that out of order?
I already wrote it down.
Oh, well.
I
You
said-
can do 31. Go ahead.
I said if it was out of order.
33, 36. These are quick here, and 42. You're good. These are not bad.